Welcome to an NHL version of the Cochrane Show. I'm John Cochrane. That's my dad, Scott Cochrane. Dad, I was looking on your forecast. I'm in Townsville, Australia. You've got some
Yep.
snow coming up.
Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. It looks like we might have some in the next week or so. Can't
So
wait.
no work will happen on that day. Just stare out the window.
I'll have my nose pressed up against the glass and my fingers on there.
What I really miss about this time of year in Canada is the Canadian World Juniors hockey tournament that sort of gets underway more in December.
Yeah,
Towards
it's always around Christmas, between Christmas and New Year's, but that's a
yeah,
big deal in Canada.
huge deal. And if you look at maybe the top 100 players of all time, probably all of them since the inception of the tournament probably played in that World Juniors tournament.
Absolutely. No matter what the country, whether they're from North America or Europe, chances are they played in that tournament. That was always part of the fun and is part of the fun watching that tournament is you can see the future NHL stars.
But there's been some amazing historical hockey moments that I'm sure many people had a beer for. And Dad, speaking of history, speaking of historical hockey, what we're going to do in this episode of the Cochrane Show is we're going to do an all-time NHL fantasy draft.
Whoa.
So we've got a list of the top 50 forwards, top 50 defensemen, and one top 10 goalies of all time.
Right.
And we're going to go through a fantasy draft and draft our teams. And then after, we're going to put it into Chat GPT to see between our two teams who would win in a best of 7 playoff series.
I love that. I love that. Now, John, let me ask you a question. Are you going to draft purely based on like best available player, or do you have a kind of team in mind that you want to draft?
I have a kind of team, but I also have like each line will have its own identity. I think you've got
Okay.
to, every team has a fourth line, and that fourth line is typically the physical team. And I think you got to have the physicality in NHL playoffs. So I've done some research, I've done some scouting, and there'll be also a part of it that's nostalgic. It won't all just be some of the players I don't know. So I'm
Yeah.
not going to choose those guys. So
Well,
what about
that's
you,
what's going
Dad?
to be interesting, John, because I think I will end up skewing towards an earlier era because those are the players I know the best. You might skew newer because those are the players you know the best. It'll be interesting to see how this shakes out.
All right. On the count of 3, we're going to say either rock, paper, or scissors.
Okay.
Okay. Whoever wins gets the first overall pick. 1, 2, 3, rock.
Scissors.
Okay. You were so delayed, and I still won.
What was the Big Bang version? Rock, paper, scissors.
Lizard Spock.
That's right. Lizard Spock. We should have done that.
All right. Well, I am going to start off our draft pick, our fantasy draft. And I actually was banking on you going first. So do I still choose my player that I had? I do. I'm going to get Mario Lemieux as my first overall center.
Wow. That's a
Yeah.
bold choice.
Well, like I said, I banked on you going first.
All right, but let me ask you this. I know we won't do this on every pick. To me, the obvious pick is Wayne Gretzky, the only NHL player to have his number retired by the entire league. He's in a league by himself. Now, Mario Lemieux is fantastic, but why did you pick Lemieux over my first pick? My first pick is Wayne Gretzky.
Well, let me just tell you this. If Wayne Gretzky played in 2025 and had the exact same career, the league would not retire his jersey. That was such an era. That was such an era thing. I don't think his jersey would still get retired today. Secondly, I think playing with the talent that is here, some players need the puck, some players don't need the puck, and this is just the draft that I have. I don't think Wayne Gretzky fits my team.
All right, you've got Lemieux, I've got Gretzky.
So that's a great. You want him on your first line? He's your center of your first line.
Center. Yep.
Yeah, look, I think you can't really go wrong with both of those picks. Obviously, Wayne Gretzky is widely considered the greatest player of all time, but I'm going to do something here just because he no longer holds the goal record. I'm going to grab the goals record player and put him on my top line, Alex Ovechkin.
He was going to be next for me, and one of my few probably current era players. But you know what I love about being able to watch Ovechkin with you and with others right now is just like I grew up loving the fact that I got to watch Gretzky play. We get to grow up loving the fact that we got to see Ovechkin play. He's going to be legendary for years to come. Good call.
All right. Who do you got next, Dad?
Well, as you've noted, we are there aren't as many great left wingers. And so I've got a couple here. And the one I'm going to grab right now is my favorite left winger growing up, Bobby Hull
Good pick.
from
Had
the
some.
Chicago Blackhawks.
Was he a tough guy?
What he was known for, he almost invented the slap shot.
Yeah. Okay.
He, in an era when most goals and most scored, usually it was a hard wrist shot. He practically invented the slap shot. What he also did, he basically invented the curved blade. Up until that time, almost all blades in hockey were straight. And Bobby Hull figured out that by curving the blade, he could get more velocity and a greater lift on his shots.
Well, this draft is working out exactly how I've predicted. And I'm
You
going to
should be
bring
tapping your fingers together when you say that, by the way.
Sid the Kid. Sidney Crosby is going to be my second center. I've got Mario Lemieux. I've got Sidney Crosby, both Hall of Famers for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And I think they played together for a little bit. Sidney Crosby, welcome to the team.
Well, I'm also going to get my second line center right now. And of course, John, we're talking about players right now that are true legends. So I'm not going to sit here and criticize Sidney Crosby. I mean, again, another current legend. But I'm going to dip back into history a little bit and grab my second line center, and it's Phil Esposito.
Boo!
Esposito was legendary. Now, admittedly, where his legend came from, he's for his era, which was basically late 60s through late 70s. But in the early 70s, Esposito was the guy. I mean, he was the first one. I think he scored 76 goals one year, but he's most famous for leading Team Canada to victory in the 72 Russia series. But he's a fantastic player, mostly for the Bruins. Also finished up his career with the Rangers. Phil Esposito, my number 2 center.
Bart Simpson could have led Team Canada in the 70s to a gold medal.
Wow. As he did with the, didn't he?
Canadian basketball team, yeah.
The Canadian national basketball team with Millhouse.
All right. For my 1, 2, 3, fourth overall pick, I think it's time to go down and look at some. Ooh, there's more defensemen there than I thought, but I am gonna go and snag up Bobby Orr as
You
my
got
defenseman.
my favorite defenseman, and I think one of the most dominating players of all time.
That was more of it in spite. Like that was to spite you. I knew you would really want Bobby Orr on your team, so he wasn't even on my list. But I knew you would want him. So in your face.
Well, you know, when you feed this into ChatGPT to see whose team is going to win, I don't know how that algorithm's going to work or whatever. So I'm unabashedly stocking up on forwards, first of all, because I think forwards are going to carry the day. And the fact that he's still available as my third line center, Connor McDavid.
No!
Connor McDavid still available as my third freaking line center.
He was definitely my third line center.
Sorry, man. We could talk trade later if you want, but he's my guy.
Great
Probably the
pick.
most, I mean, without question, the most electrifying player in the game today. And he only makes it on my third line.
Well, and Dad, you know what? Third line, that's the line that you're bringing out to cause havoc, not physically, but just outskate the other team. That's a perfect, obviously, he's not a third line player, but in the terms of this draft, that's a perfect person to captain your third line. All right. We're taking obviously the prime of all of these players' careers.
Right.
I'm going here between three players. Yeah, okay. Oh, I don't know. All right. I'm going to go with Steve Yzerman as my third line center.
Good choice.
That
Can't go
Detroit
wrong with
Red
Steve.
Wings team was fantastic. He's sort of, if you're NBA watchers, he's like a Tim Duncan in the NBA. He's not flashy, but he can control the game. He's like a captain on the ice.
And he was never going to win a scoring title, but
No.
man, did he score clutch goals.
Yeah.
He was the guy that when the team needed the right goal at the right time, it was Stevie Y.
What's mom baking?
You can hear that, can you? I think it's my dinner out there.
Nice. All right, Dad, where are you going next?
Okay. I'm going to get my first defenseman now. Might be a little bit of a controversial choice or at least unexpected, but I'm going to start off with Scott Stevens. I want to anchor my defense with a big, nasty leader on my defense. I'm going Scott Stevens.
And for those of us that don't know who he is, why don't you give us a little bit of a why don't I see him?
He's number 13 under defenseman. On our printout, at least.
He's not on my interesting. He didn't make this. This is the same printout. What is going on? I have no way to add him, Dad. So can you choose a different player?
I cannot. This guy was a legend. Guess who he was.
Whole section. Like go back to because I'll cut this bit out.
All right. He was the captain of the Devils in like their best years and everything like that. Okay.
What, 1940?
The Devils? Oh my gosh. All right. I'm going to go Dennis Potvin. My first defenseman is, since you're going to cut this out, I'm going to pause here and just help Mom for a second, okay?
Is that the smoke alarm?
Yeah.
Let me just add a little bit of a marker here.
There we go. So we'll go back to, I'm going to pick my first defenseman, okay? Tell me when you're ready.
Ready.
All right. John, for my next pick, I'm going to grab my first defenseman, okay? And this was a guy that was a game changer, not Bobby Orr level, but he dominated the game. Denny Potvin from the New York Islanders, a legend of the 70s.
A legend. Your team is going to be in black and white. Like, there's no color to your team.
Wow. Well, like I said, unabashedly, I know these players better, and that's going to influence the kind of team that I'm going to build. Denny Potvin was he was steady, he was reliable. He was the captain of the team for a lot of years when Brian Trottier wasn't the captain. But he was the kind of player, as soon as he went on the ice, the game changed. And that's a guy I want on my defense.
I'm going to come to the left wings because we're running low. And, I'm going to make a Detroit Red Wings line here. My left wing on the third line is going to be Brendan Shanahan.
Oh, Brendan Shanahan. Now, why did you pick him? Like, what was it that stands out for you? Is there anything in particular?
Two reasons. We don't have many left wings. We're going to have to actually dip into the other winger pool.
Yep.
And I wanted to have a Detroit Red Wings line. The chemistry, the cohesiveness.
Good call. Good call. Can't argue with that. Well, I'm also going to grab a left winger right now. And again, this one, I hope this is allowed to do this because he's even listed here as center and left wing. I'm going to grab Mark Messier.
Mark Messier as your left wing, eh? Possibly the best player. What line, Dad? Are you going second line?
No, I don't think I have another left. Oh, yeah, sorry. Second line left wing.
Do you want to switch Bobby Hull and Mark Messier?
No, I want to keep them in that order. Bobby Hull's on my first line. Mark Messier is on my second line. You can see one of the things I'm doing, and I'm seeing some of this of you too. I'm really stacking up on leadership. I hope the algorithm gives me some love for that.
Who cares? I'm not worried about leadership. All these players are captains. I'm worried about goals.
Well, I think I'm going to smoke you on that one. I got Gretzky.
Well, sorry, I've got Ovechkin, so I win. All right.
You said we're going to get them at the peak of their careers, right?
Yeah.
Gretzky's peak was better than Ovechkin's peak.
Maybe.
No, I think I know.
Okay. Right. So with my next pick, I I'm going to round out my centers with a center that might surprise you. But here I'm going for playmaking. Oh, there's so many options here. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Joe Sakic because of his wrist shot, and he's he can score with the best of them. Jonathan Taves, he's got the skill, but he's also got the physicality, I think. Joe Thornton, underproduced in the playoffs, but in the regular, so this is a playoffs thing. So Joe Thornton, you've been eliminated from my thought process. And then Evgeny Malkin, after outwardly processing that, Jonathan Taves, you're my fourth line center.
Can't go wrong with Taves. We'll talk more about Malkin when one of us drafts him. I'm not drafting him right now, but remember we got to see him in the World Juniors here in Kelowna. That was pretty awesome. Well, I need to grab a right winger. There are a lot of good right wingers who are available here.
We all know who you're taking.
I bet you don't. Tell me who. I won't change my mind, but tell me who you think it is.
Pavel Bure.
Incorrect. I'm actually going to grab Mike Bossy.
What? Speaking about a Zag, what line?
I don't think I have a second line right winger yet. He's going to be my second line.
You also don't have a first line right winger, just so you're aware.
Well, sorry, I thought I did. Okay, he just got promoted to the first line. Mike Bossy, again, this is the 70s. That's my era. This guy was a sniper. Remember one game, the first time that my team, the Canucks, made it to the finals, it was 82. The Islanders were so dominant. But in the first game, the Canucks took them to 5-5 and into overtime. With 15 seconds left in the first overtime period, one of our defensemen passed it up the middle. Bossy got it, top right corner. He bugged me, but he was incredible. Mike Bossy, my first line, right wing.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Wow, wow, wow. Wow.
All right, I'm going to go into the defenseman here, and I'm going to go Nicholas Lidstrom.
Oh.
I'm going to pair him up with... Actually, no, I'm going to let him be the lead of his own defensive line, Nicholas Lidstrom.
Good call. And I'm going to... this is the time in the draft when I want to make sure, because again, I don't know how your ChatGPT weighting system is going to work, but I got to grab a goalie. I'm going to go Patrick Waugh. He's available.
I was thinking the same thing, but then I thought, you know what? Patrick Waugh, Dominic Hasek, there's not too much between those two. Okay, I need to start to round out my right wingers, and good thing there are some dominant right wing players that are still there, and I'm going to grab... where is he? Jaromir Jagr, longevity.
Up there.
I feel like he goes with Mario Lemieux, same era.
In every way, absolutely. He was an electrifying player. And speaking of electrifying players, now I get my third line right winger, Pavel Bure, comes on board.
Pavel Bure. You want him with McDavid? I feel like that's a good line, or do you want him in the second spot?
He's going to be my third line right wing.
Yeah, that's a good third line that you've got. I'm scared of that third line more than I am of your first line. Let's just say that.
And when they come over the boards, I think my third line's going to get some power play time, which you don't often see.
You don't often see that. Makes me wonder, what are you doing with not having that as your first line? All right. So my first line is looking pretty dominant. And now my second line is going to need some speed. And somebody that can just score the puck in bunches. Someone that is going to outskate the other team. Maurice Richard.
Good call. Excellent call.
The Rocket.
Yeah, he was the first player to be known as the Rocket. You probably know the legendary story that in the Stanley Cup Finals one year, the president or the commissioner of the National Hockey League suspended him, and the city of Montreal rioted over that. And that was quite a time. Hey, I can't
about that I learned about him in school for some reason.
Yeah, he was pretty incredible. Hey, is my first and second lines complete now?
You don't have a right winger on your second line.
That's right.
Because you put Pavel Bure on the third line.
That's right.
Gordie Howe's still there for you, Dad.
Well, he is, and that's what I'm going to grab. He played a lot of center, but I'm going to put Gordie Howe on my third line right wing.
He is a center, isn't he?
Well, that's what I thought, but you've got him listed as a right wing.
Look, ChatGPT was my partner in this, so
Hey, if it says right wing, I'm putting him on right wing.
yeah. Yeah, some of these players are out of position, which is fine, right?
Yeah,
Jerome
we can
again.
move them around, so that's fine.
My for the sake I don't want to draft too high, so I'm not going to grab that player that I was going to grab. Um, let's go with I'm going to bring Patrick Kane.
Oh,
He's going to be my right wing on the fourth line. Again, the chemistry between Taves and Kane, big on the chemistry. As long as he doesn't get in any taxis, we'll be fine. As long as Patrick Kane doesn't get in a cab, we're fine.
man, those two, Kane and Taves, when they were at their best, and I got to see them, of course, when I lived in Chicago in those years when they were winning their cups and everything. They were incredible. Hey, it's time for me to grab another defenseman, and I am going to get one of my favorites from back in my day, Brian Leach from the Rangers.
He must have been very sticky.
Leach?
Leach.
That's humor, right?
Correct.
Okay, yeah, very good.
Is
Yeah,
he
he
going
was.
to be on your first line, second line, third line defense? Do you want him with Potvin?
I'm going to pair him with Scott Stevens on my second pair. I haven't matched up Dennis Potvin yet.
We don't have Scott Stevens. You replaced him with Dennis Potvin.
Well, because Stevens wasn't available.
Correct.
That's right. I should have crossed him out on my list here. Okay, my first pair is Potvin and Leach.
All right. Well, I'm going on the. There's one defenseman that isn't on this list, which is shocking. ChatGPT really did us dirty not having Shea Weber on here. But I'm going to
Really,
bring
you
in
think Weber would be a top all time?
100% that slap shot. But I'm going to bring in another guy that is physical, that can score clutch goals. He was huge on the Edmonton Oilers when they lost the Stanley Cup, in 2000 and against Carolina, whatever year that was. Chris Pronger, welcome to the team. You're going to be my third line anchor on defense.
Good call. Good call. So I've got my first two lines on forwards complete, but I don't have my first three lines are complete, but not my fourth line, correct?
No, you don't have a left winger on your third line. You got
All
Connor
right, thank you.
McDavid, Pavel Bure.
Well, that's right. I did grab Bure. Well, let's finish off that. Yeah, as you said, it was pretty slim pickings on the left side, and you
I'm
grabbed.
happy for you to grab a right winger or a center to fill in your space.
No, that's cheating.
Well, we don't have enough.
Yeah, but that's the challenge, isn't it?
Literally, we do not have enough left wingers. We
All
need
right,
four more, and we only have three.
All right, I'm going to grab Gilbert Perreault, and I'm moving him to left wing.
What position was he originally?
Center. He was so versatile. He probably could play
Gilbert Perreault.
Perrault? Gilbert Perreault. He was part of one of the most famous lines in hockey in the 70s. It was the French Connection. 3 French-Canadian players who all played for the Buffalo Sabres.
What year?
Early 70s.
I see you've got a theme of 70s here.
Tell you, it was a very special time for hockey.
Said not many people. Okay.
Wow.
Let's I'm going to do something similar. Again, cohesion. These players together, they play super well. Evgeny Malkin, come on to my left wing, join Sidney Crosby.
Wow.
So I've got the Penguins line, I've got the Blackhawks line, and I've got the Red Wings line.
I see what you're doing there. All right, well, I'm going to start developing a pretty gritty fourth line, and my center is Brian Trottier.
Of course, from the 70s.
Of course. Like I said, we're not surprised. There's been a few players, even from this area, that we've both, been grabbing. I mean, I got Connor McDavid. But other than that, I think it's only natural. I'm going to gravitate a bit older. You're going to gravitate a bit newer.
Sorry, Dad. I don't know why he didn't make this list, but he's not here.
Well, that is a shame. Well, I want grit on my fourth line. I'm going to put. Did you grab Joe Sakic?
No.
I'm going to grab Joe Sakic then. Please
You
tell me
think
fair.
you think he's gritty? Wait, you told me defenseman before.
No, I'd say he's my fourth line center.
No, okay. Well, you said your fourth line defenseman, Brian Trottier. Okay, Brian is there as a
Brian
center.
Trottier is there.
Yes, you told me
Okay.
he was a defenseman.
Oh, that might have been a slip of the tongue. Brian Trottier is my fourth line center.
All right. Yes. Makes more sense than Joe Sakic. He was not gritty, was he?
Well, he was not a mucker, but he was tough.
I'm just looking for Hank and Dank.
I don't see them on there.
No, they're not. All right. Chris Pronger, you're not gonna want to go against this line of defense. Zdeno Chara next to Chris Pronger, the Giants in the back ice.
Wow. All right. I'm grabbing a defenseman, Ray Bourque.
Ray Bourque. Is he going? Yep. Second line.
My second pair. Yeah. Starting at my second pair.
And next to Bobby Orr, I'm going Paul Coffey.
Nice choice. Nice choice.
Do you know why I grabbed Paul Coffey? In the
Because
game NHL on PlayStation, he just
Yep.
dominates. So that's literally the only sort of reference that I have. How good are you in video games?
As it should be. As it should be. My fourth line right wing, Cam Neely.
And who did Cam Neely play for?
Well, he started with Vancouver, and in one of the worst trades of all time, the Canucks traded him to Boston, and that's where he flourished. Eventually became the GM. He was a legend with Boston, and we traded him for change that they found in their sofa. Like, we got nothing back for him.
Okay, on my fourth line, I'm gonna bring in Jerome Iginla as my Jerome Iginla as my left wing on the fourth line.
All right.
We need someone that can drop the gloves, and Jerome Iginla can do that for us.
Good call. I'm pairing up on my second line defense, Larry Robinson.
Defenseman Larry Robinson. Larry!
What is that?
Impractical Jokers?
Oh,
Larry!
of course. Yeah, sorry. And it's been a while since I've watched that. I got to watch that again.
Okay, my final forward here. I've got to do it. I'm going to bring in Peter Forsberg to be my third line right winger.
Okay.
So to recap, I've got Ovechkin, Lemieux, Yager as my first line, Malkin, Crosby, Richard as my second, Shanahan, Eisenman, Forsberg as my third, Iginla, Taves, and Patrick Kane as my fourth.
Okay, and what I'm missing right now is a left winger on my fourth line. Is that correct?
A left winger on the fourth line, correct.
Okay. So again, I've got to move somebody from another position to go over there. I want a certain amount of grit. Man, there's some good scores that are available, but I really want someone a little bit.
Brett Hull had some grit.
He did. And I've got his dad. Bobby Hull was Brett Hull's dad.
Yeah. If you want anybody you've already got McDavid. Bring Leon Draisaitl. Switch Gilbert Perrault onto the fourth. Bring Draisaitl onto the third.
I don't even see him on our list.
Oh, he's there.
Well, he's not on mine, but if you've got him on the board, that's the move. Let's do that. We'll put him with McDavid, and we're going to swap out. We'll move Gilbert Perrault.
Okay. All right. So both, Dad, your forwards. You got Bobby Hull, Wayne Gretzky, Mike Bossy. Common names that everyone knows. Mark Messier, Phil Esposito, and Gordie Howe as your second. Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, Pavel Bure. That's more like it. You got the old G, Gilbert. You got Brian Trottier and Cam Neely.
It's so sad that you do not know who these great legends are.
Comment below whose names you know more.
And put your age in your comments too. No, I'm just kidding.
You're choosing guys that are playing when the NHL had 6 teams. Of course they're going to dominate.
These guys, you watch, they will dominate any era.
So, Dad, I think we each have 2 more picks to go.
I got to get 2 more defensemen.
Yeah, and I've got a defenseman and a goalie. And the defenseman that I've been wondering about, I've got 4. It's either Chris Chelios, Niedermeyer, Duncan Keith, or Eric Carlson.
Well, I know who I want. So, by the way, Shea Weber's down there as a defenseman, at least on my list.
He's not on mine. I would choose him, but I don't have him. But I'm going Duncan Keith to
All
pair
right.
up with Lidstrom.
I can't because of the way he abused the Sedins in the playoffs. So you take him. Take him off
With
my hand.
Duncan Keith. Oh, for sure. And he's going to abuse, I don't know, 80-year-old players as well.
And in the meantime, they're going to be defended by Scott Niedermayer is my next defenseman.
Yes, good one. And I am going to bring in, Martin Brodeur had a great Olympic career. We've got Carey Price, Roberto Luongo, but Dominant Hasek is going to be my goal.
And I think my next pick is the last one, correct?
The last pick.
Well, not surprisingly, we're dipping back into not just the 70s, but really the 80s, maybe even a bit in the 90s.
You're going Yossi. Oh, Al McKinnon.
And the Calgary Flames, probably the hardest slap shot in hockey.
Well, let's put these teams, comment below what team you think is going to win. Let's put them into ChatGPT to see who wins. All right, I have put our two teams into ChatGPT, and I've asked, in a best-of-7 series in the Stanley Cup Finals, which team will come out on top, John or Scott? Here is what's happened, what ChatGPT has said. Both teams are stacked. There's no wrong answer here. Just which one wins more matchups over 7 games? All right, let's start with the forwards. Small edge, John. John's forward core, Ovechkin, it goes through my names. This is disgusting, it says. You have the most dominant wing scorer ever, Ovechkin. The best power forward ever, Yager or Forsberg, take your pick. The most complete center, Crosby. The best playoff clutch captain, Yzerman. 2 of the toughest snipers ever, Iginla, Shanahan. The ultimate defensive playoff warrior, Taves. Your group is bigger, meaner, more two-way dominant, more physical, still insanely skilled. This is a nightmare to play against. And for Scott's team, it's got more finesse, more pure scoring, faster on the wings, and elite playmaking on offense. John wins the forward battle, 55% to 45%. It's close, but the size, two-way, physicality difference matters a lot. Anything you want to argue with ChatGPT here?
Well, you're obviously talking to the Australian ChatGPT that doesn't know anything about ice hockey. So,
all right, let's go defenseman. Edge, John. Brackets, clear winner. John's defense, Coffey Orr, Lidstrom, Keith, Pronger, Chara. This is messed up. You have the greatest defenseman ever. Do I have? Yeah, I have Bobby Orr in Orr. The most complete defenseman ever, Lidstrom. 2 of the scariest monsters alive, Pronger and Chara. The best skater, Coffey. One of the best playoff Ds ever, Keith. Scott's defense is excellent, but it cannot handle this.
Do I at least win the goaltending battle?
Goalies. Hasek versus Waugh, dead even. So that's a wipeout. He calls it 50-50.
So does it tell us?
We're getting to your part here. Intangibles, leadership, clutch, physicality. That's all on you. This is what you went for. You went for leadership.
I went for.
John's team is full of warriors, Iginla and Taves. Playoff absolute psychos, Forsberg, Yzerman, Chara, Pronger. Proven two-way dominators, Crosby, Lemieux, Yzerman, Taves. Scott's team is full of legends who dominate offensively, but fewer pure shutdown playoff killers. Playoff-style hockey favors John's team.
All right, so what's going to happen in our best-of-7?
Final verdict. Who wins this series, you ask? John, not even in 7 games, in 6 games.
I'll take that. I'll take a 6-game series. Well done, John. Slow clap.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And you know what? I can't argue ChatGPT.
Try another platform, another AI platform next time. Not now, but next time. Let's see how they battle up.
I should try another platform.
You know what we'll do another time, John? You win. I'll bow to you on that, even though I really like my team. Sometime we should maybe try to recreate like the 4 Nations tournament. We'll try to build a Canadian team and an American team and so on. That could be fun too.
Well, thanks for playing this round of fantasy draft. You'll do better next time.
I don't need your condescension, young man.
Just remember, there's about 50 years in between now and the 70s that you typically ignored. So a lot of
Some
players.
good. Al McInnes, Patrick Waugh, Connor McDavid. I was well represented.
Just for gits and shiggles, what if you had to do one trade? What trade would you have done?
I don't have everything in front of me, so that would be tough for me to do. I wanted more grit, and I knew you were getting more grit. So I'd probably swap out a couple of my finesse players and see if I can get some grit back from you.
So you would have gone more grit. You got to have grit in the playoffs.
That's the thing. I think I was building just the best team, not the best playoff team.
Not sure if you did either, but
wow. Like we're actually going to go into trash talk, especially after the game's over. This is usually when we're exchanging jerseys and trinkets from our home countries and all that kind of stuff.
So for those of you that don't know, I also pastor a church, and I was doing a sermon a few weeks ago, and I was talking about competitiveness. And I said, the one thing that grinds my gears is that my dad is competitive, but he just doesn't show it.
False.
So I win, you lose. Too far to say you suck, I rock.
I think we'll do a whole episode one time on who sucks and who rocks. That's a whole thing that we do.
Other episode. Well, Dad,
today, you rock, I suck.
Thank you. And I think it's about time to get out of here. So thanks for joining us. And make sure you like this video, subscribe to The Cochrane Show. Let's go.